Hello Leafs Nation, I'm Rick Scarborough and you're watching Blue and White Weekly, where we bring you weekly updates on the Leafs and the hockey world at large. I don't know who decided to greenlight another season of our nonsense, but that's not what's important. What's important is we finally have a brand new season of Maple Leafs hockey to talk about, so let's get into the news. Before we begin, this episode of Blue and White Weekly is brought to you by the brand new Hammer Hockey store on tpublic.com, where you can pick up all kinds of shirts, hoodies, hats, mugs, and anything a hockey fan might need as the season gets underway. Be sure to check out the Blue and White Weekly collection while you're there and rep your love for our show. New designs are added frequently, so be sure to check back often. You can find the link down in the description. Thank you very much for supporting the channel, and enjoy. Now let's get into some news from around the hockey world. After a summer of speculation over whether or not he actually retired, Marc-Andre Fleury has signed a professional tryout contract to retire as a member of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Fleury will join the Pens for part of training camp before suiting up with the team in a preseason contest against the Columbus Blue Jackets on September 27th. To all athletes of any sport that sign a one-day contract to retire with a specific team, you just got one-upped, and I believe anyone who wants to go down this route should follow Fleury's example. For the first time since April 2023, Jonathan Toews is stepping back onto the ice, this time as a member of his hometown Winnipeg Jets. Toews has suffered the effects of long COVID over the last few years, but says he feels good enough to return to NHL action. It's going to be a little weird to see him in a color other than Blackhawks red, but it's just nice to see him back. Things are getting wild in Minnesota, all pun intended. Star forward Kirill Kaprizov has reportedly turned down an 8-year, $16 million per offer from the team, an offer which would make him the richest player in the NHL, far surpassing Leon Draisaitl's current $14 million cap hit. Trade rumors now swirl around Kaprizov, so we'll keep an eye on this story as it develops. And speaking of stories we'll have to keep an eye on throughout the year, Oilers captain Connor McDavid is heading into the final year of his contract and has been somewhat elusive on the topic of an extension. He and the Oilers have had talks, but the 28-year-old franchise center seems less than pleased when speaking on the matter in interviews. As I said, this is a developing story that will in all likelihood continue into next offseason, so we'll check back on this throughout the year as there's updates to provide. On Tuesday, the New York Rangers named JT Miller the 29th captain in franchise history, which is certainly one of the decisions of all time. Earlier this week, the Washington Capitals unveiled a new third jersey, which sees yet another iteration of their iconic Screaming Eagle emblazoned on the front. The Capitals have to know by now that this should be their primary logo, right? Like, we can all debate about what style the jersey should be or colorway it should be in, but the Screaming Eagle should 100% be their primary mark and on both their home and away jersey. It looks too good. And speaking of the Capitals, grocery stores in the DC area will be selling a limited edition cereal called Ovi's Great Crunch, celebrating the NHL's all-time goals leader. And look at that box. He's wearing the Screaming Eagle. I mean, this is what I'm getting at. They just have to know it's the best option, right? This is normally the part of the episode where I'd say, now let's get into the games of the week, but there aren't any. Training camp hasn't even opened until today. What we do have to talk about is a prospect showcase that happened in Montreal last weekend. For more on that and for the standout performances in the games, we'll throw it over to our ringside reporter, Riley Roberts. Thanks very much, Rick, and golly, is it good to be back for another year here at Blue and White Weekly. Last weekend, the Montreal Canadiens hosted a prospect showcase for themselves, the Ottawa Senators, the Winnipeg Jets, and our Maple Leafs. The Leafs rookies walked away with a win and a loss on the weekend, losing 4-3 to the Sens on Saturday before triumphing over the Habs 4-1 on Sunday. While everyone on the ice gave it their all, a handful of names stood out above the rest, names that have earned themselves an invite to the official Leafs training camp as announced today. Unsurprisingly, Easton Cowan and Ben Danford turned in stellar performances, both of whom are expected to make it into regular season games for the Leafs at some point this year. Other players who stole the spotlight include defenseman Noah Chadwick, who served as Danford's primary partner for the weekend, Marlies forward Jacob Quillen, who tallied a goal and an assist through the two games, and Landon Sim, one of Cowan's teammates from the London Knights, who didn't show off a whole lot of offensive prowess, but got in 2 fights and joined every post-whistle scrum he could, an attitude that you know head coach Craig Berube likes to have in his system. We'll have to wait and see if any of these young men can continue to impress as preseason games get underway. So for now, I'm going to take in some of the drills going on down here at the rink, and I'll send it back to you in the studio, Rick. Thanks very much, Riley, though I see over the summer you still haven't managed to find your way to a real rink. That's some very blue ice behind you. Very pixelated, too. Anthony Stolarz is getting set for this coming season after his time in the playoffs came to a premature end due to a concussion. Shout out Sam Bennett. This is also the last year of Stolar's contract, but the 31-year-old netminder has confirmed that he and the Leafs have begun talks on a new deal. Stolarz stresses he wants to be paid fairly on this contract, and seeing as his stats from last season put him third in the league in goals against average and first in save percentage, I'd have to agree. Pay the man, Brad. In his season-opening media availability on Wednesday, head coach Craig Berube revealed that Max Domi tweaked something in a skate last week and will be day-to-day for the beginning of training camp. And one last piece of Leafs news, Adidas have been announced as the official training partner of the Toronto Maple Leafs, supplying the team with anything from workout clothes to shoes to gym bags. It didn't take them long to get back on an NHL paycheck after Fanatics succeeded them last year as the league's uniform supplier. Looking ahead in the week, training camp kicks off today, the 17th, with preseason action getting underway next week with a matinee matchup in Ottawa against the Sens on Sunday, before the Sens visit Toronto on Tuesday. We'll have both those games to you next week, plus so much more. But for now, thank you very much for watching Leafs Nation. Be sure to like and subscribe. And remember, go Leafs, go. We're back, baby.